Hello! Why is that weird? Weird. Okay. Cool. Hello! Hello! I don't know why I'm wearing these, because I technically don't need these on my head. Actually, you don't know? No, I don't need these. Because the sound is coming out of my TV, so I don't need the headphones. It's a time. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Let's go, Kazuma. Kazuma's here today. We are continuing our journey to figuring out who the great Ace Attorney is. It's probably gonna be me. Your Honor, that's gay. Your Honor, this is a time. We finished last time we played, which was what, Monday? I think it was. Maybe yes, Monday. It was Monday. Monday we finished the first trial case of the game, which was the murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. No relation to Watson whatsoever. Just none. There is none. And we figured out that it was in fact a woman, a English woman, who is a transfer student studying medical sciences at Yume University, which is the university that Kazuma and main guy. He's a Phoenix Wright dude. They go to, and she was the one who killed him with poison. I almost said Rionosuke, thank you. I almost said poisson, which is in fact fish in French, so it's not correct. Uh, and we got a taste of what the courtroom life is like. Now I believe we get to adventure into the adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band, which, if anybody is familiar with Sherlock Holmes novels, uh, you would be familiar with this story. I know I'm familiar with this story because when I was in elementary school, I made a little diorama in a shoebox of this specific case from the Sherlock Holmes books because I read it and then I used like little like miniature figures and I kind of made like a scene in the shoebox of this case. So I know what the actual case is, but I don't know how much they took from that story in order to formulate the Capcom Ace Attorney version of this. So I guess we'll see. We will see momentarily. So, without further ado, we're gonna get right into it, and we're gonna begin with some great Ace Attorney. Just to double check, I'm gonna save, so I don't lose anything. Show me the boy. Well, the boy's coming. Don't worry. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band, Episode 2. What else do we have? The Adventure of the Runaway Room, On a Train, cool. The Clouded Kokoro, Hound of the Baskervilles, really, The Unspeakable Story. The Great Departure. Oh, this is the beginning. So, yeah, Unspeakable Story. Cool. So, there are 5 episodes, and I think this is a 2-part game. So this is the first half, and then there's like a second half. So we're gonna start with the adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Start playing from the start of this episode? No, start from the middle. Of course, start from the beginning. Interesting. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band, Episode 2.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath.
Sholmes, huh?
In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness.
Sherlock flashbacks, hello.
He yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson.
Yep, it was a
In
snake.
front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as
A
it
speckled
threatened
band that
to
was
strike.
around her body or her arm or whatever.
It
It was
truly
a snake.
was the most terrible speckled band I had.
The person died of poisoning from a snake. Also, if at any point the sound is too loud, let me know, and I will fix it. Ooh, hello, animated cutscene.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle.
He's got a printer on his butt.
Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not in the same hand as this message. In fact, I knew it was written by someone of a different
gun?
handwriting.
Science gun.
This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police
Da,
come.
da.
We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
Okay. Why does that man have, like,
Don't be absurd. This is
sunburn
murder, and
in
it can be locked
stripes?
from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who
That's
are you?
what's
And
her
where have
name?
you
That's
come
the
from?
girl. That's the
I'm a
daughter.
great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Holmes.
Actually, no. There's another one. Sherlock Holmes. He's just copyright. He's just under copyright. All right. All right, Herlock. All right, Sholmes. Ooh, who is this? My head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Who are we? Who is this? Who are we? Oh, it is Ryunosuke. Wait, I can't move. Whoa, hold on a minute. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? I don't know, dude. You tell me. So you wake up now. Oh, it's you. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. That is what he's gonna sound like. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are true, cold-blooded man. You. Haha. You found me then. Da, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. Jesus Christ. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, sorry? Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is. No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that? It's you! Why did you do it? Why did you take his... Me again? I didn't do anything! Mr. Sato! Wait. What did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh, wait a minute. What? Ha! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. I don't even know where the accent went. What? What? I have no idea. Kazuma-sama was... Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago? Hold on. Here, in this very cabin, it was bolted shut from the inside. His body? No, come on! Please. Do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. No, I wasn't. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be! These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No! No, seriously, no! Oh shit! Oh shit, hold on. Hey. Your Honor, put it back. Me too, I feel that. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Wouldn't you find it funny being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor? I thought I was going to die! Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Wow, hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant, Miko Tobayu? From your close friend? More to the point, surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No. But if she knew what we'd done, it would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in it for sure. Or I'll be in for it, if I can read. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write "keep out" or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. Okay, we've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together! Aw, dude. We'll leave you at port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. No, I'm not a murderer! Ah, you said before, you said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend and boyfriend. No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. It's Maya all over again, but it's the main character. Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there's something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Kazuma's death. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream? These handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or, to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me! The cause of death is still undetermined. You don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted or an expert is called. So, presumably that means no obvious external signs of injury then? It's true, yes. Another poisoning, maybe? Can't anyone tell me what actually happened in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone else. Please! Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wait before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. This morning, he did not come. I could sense that he would. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door? I wonder. I knocked. There was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-san, collapsed on the floor. The white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard for me to believe, too. Trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. No idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No! That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you want to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that. But I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development. The center of the world, anyways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no. Definitely not. But on a personal note, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. What? Sketchy. This man literally said to his boyfriend, let's run away together, and didn't even think twice about what Ryunosuke would do once they got to England. You're so right. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. Your Honor, they are in love. The look in his eyes, it was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san? I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-san, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this game? The thing is, we can't actually, TOS and all that. No, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there. After that, I fell asleep. Yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Yes. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? No, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Well, oopsie. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. What am I gonna do? Don't try to go anywhere! You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied? While whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen! Well, what do you propose to do? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. What? She beat me up? What the... That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already? What you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Here's my university collar pin that I'm a student at the Imperial University. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always puts it in place whenever I went to sleep in it. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. I also love that they're having this conversation while he's flat on his back on the ground. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me out? I kind of love her. She's fun. Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you, to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. So let's examine. That man is still here. Amazing. Let's start all the way over here to start picking things apart. Start with the bed. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So, yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused, I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using these buttons that I just used. Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that! I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Okay, so back over here. Check. What's this? The wall? This is... Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. Hello, Nessa! Murder happened already. Kazuma died, I'm sorry. Kazuma just got killed. And we're being blamed for it again. Kazuma's dead and I'm upset. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. Fuck, I was worried that would happen. Fortunate. No. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. They were too gay to live. That's unfortunate. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator. If that's what it is. Looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. Okay, so what I'm noticing here is this is the exact same setup as the Speckled Band. I don't know if it's a snake, though. I don't think it's the same thing as a snake. Because in the original Speckled Band story, the person died in a locked office or, like, study room. And when they finally got in, there was a speckled band around his arm. From where it's either that's where the snake was, or that's where the snake bit him, and it was like the poison looked like speckles on his body. But they didn't find anything on Kazuma that was like any kind of wound or like exterior trauma. So interesting. Let's see. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. It's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. Interesting. Okay, desk. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means... What? He was in the middle of writing it when the accident happened. Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Why'd you hit me again? That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. But Jason wants to read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? Chest. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes. I see. It says this way up. Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed onto the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Let's look at the... Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then, I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue at his final moments. See? I'm sorry, Papa. But I can't read your writing. Speak Russian. I don't think that's Japanese, that son. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. Do you think the boyfriend will haunt us like Mia? What if Kazuma haunted us like Mia? Oh my god, is Susato going to get samurai abs? And a sword? Come on. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? What the hell? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, haven't you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Actually, I would like to continue investigating. I want to investigate everything before I talk to him. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazu. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? The mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It is a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see any of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. This... The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look! They've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Pick him up. Disrespect. Yes, it's almost as though the whole shelf has been ransacked. And everything mown down at once. I wonder if... Perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. And perhaps... It was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see it mess. Cool. What's this? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Borea. SS Borea? Borea? God damn it. It essentially is a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Well, he was reading it. He wasn't reading it with a Russian accent. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. That's fun. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. Now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. What's this? It's my dinner from last night. Roast chicken. It's really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like Jin at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which means all the more for me. Oh, no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Ooh. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. There was something in the food. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No, no, no! Say, the Japanese word for justice. Brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can! I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship? Now you're going to bring that up, are you? You can't win. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me? What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation, Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. You might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Yet. Of course not. Go back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there. He seemed a little flustered. Interesting. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to secure the door shut? Still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. She glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and a thread to draw the bolt across from the outside of the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. She glares at me like that. I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Okay, anything else that I missed? Food, katana. Nothing else. So let's look at him. Excuse me? Excuse me? Do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone? He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh shit, he's in my face! Hold on. I was like, Creepo? Weird. What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? Looks like he's looking right through me. Oh yes. Everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I presume. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst adventuring towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction. Hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery about it. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the beribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, aren't you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did all this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you're plotting a revolution too? It's shameful behavior now, Kazuma-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... God damn it. God damn it. Oh, I love this. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. This is funny. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh. Forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came to your head? Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Huh, there you have it, you see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude, and more often than not, I'm right. Ha! I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable, goddammit, Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. If I say it with enough confidence, no one will doubt my bullshit. Yes, that's him. The very same. The inimitable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? You must ask him what he deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already. Sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? She's the new daughter of the collective. Yes. Okay. Converse. Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Hairlock, was it? No, no, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Sholmes. He's really stupid. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I've been sent from England especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you start to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your influence is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer, fucking god, Buttons, records that my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer. Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? Can't work out whether I should take this band seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. The trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Amazing, amazing. He's a himbo. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! What an idiot. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about causing the sound this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among them, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board, and he illegally entered a crime scene. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Ah! The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Two facts. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. I can't fucking read. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the field. That is the Russian word for order. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? Ooh, bless me. Bless me again. Initially, I considered Garden Rock maybe the name of a killer. A certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe, there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found him, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? Is everyone Russian? Is there any other Russians I should know about? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Okay. Tell me, is Kazuma left-handed? I don't know. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What's correct? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that? Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Okay, certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Your deductions. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah, yes. The more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? Oh, you said hydrate. I'm gonna drink some soda. I will sit up and adjust my microphone. So, face this way. His name is Villain. I guess so. That kind of sucks. It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reason to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who had killed the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Bolshevik. No, no, no! How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ah, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, those he's plotted. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There could be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with news reporters, I wonder? What about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take this paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rush when they by. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the quick. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. Back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Okay, let's look at it while we have it. Oh, who's this? This is interesting. Have you found something relevant on hers? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. Nor can I. Look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? Max described Schultz as a bimbo. I think they were right. Yes. I don't know. Can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented, young Nikolina Pavlova. Their Russian names so hard. It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the fabulous tiara, the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailing to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Redmond. Okay, the ballerina article has been added to the court record. Interesting. What were you just investigating? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk. Examining? Did I say examining? What the fuck? Kazuma. Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes on the journal. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you want to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know that other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Oh, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Sasato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruto-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray it be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, smattering. Sayonara, Bonsai, Mikado. Nado, I trust you're suitably impressed. Ah. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So, what was all that showing off before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Shawns. Gotta go! Have fun finding the ghost of your dead boyfriend! Oh, thanks! I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try real hard. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I never heard that expression before. Was it a snake? What the hell? The ventilator grill, you said. The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin! Kazuma's diary has been entered. Department. So, I believe I have given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, so you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No. That would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, yes. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I've no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking! You just said it only a moment ago! Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Jones, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal here. Not really. So, what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway. That was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. He's so ridiculous. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? About these. There's no way I could... Why are you doing this to me? After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Yeah, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. We love him. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes? What can I do for you? Oh! No way! It's the detective! Oh, I love him. I love him! Oh, he's so good. He's just an undercover cop, kind of, but detective, not cop. He's a detective. I recognize that face, but it can't be. Ah, the blood. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello, then. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew, and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. Hmm? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. Do you ever just look at your hand? Yep. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board. From morning until night, every day. I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So, if there's anything at all that I can do to help you, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you did. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the player. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. Sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman will surely snap your neck in two. I suppose, not just a stowaway. We think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with you? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it, really. I'd lay my life on it. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence. Presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during the trial. Simply select the present method. Choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Alright, let's persuade the man. This, because he talks about the speckled band. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grate. A speckled band. That is strange. Yes, we're trying to work out what he meant by that. What I like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, was it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. Why am I tired? I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes. As long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Let's seize the moment then, Nanahodo-san. Just left move for me to leave the cabin at last. Ooh. Alright, let's see what we can find out. We've made it to the passageway. 9th of January, 7:48 a.m. SS Group. First class cabin passageway. Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. I love the man spread at the end of the hallway. I'm just really digging that aesthetic. I also love how his shirt is a little small, so his tummy's poking out. Oh, look over there! That's another crewman keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in the ship. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Prop top sailor! Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd have been used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Okay, let's do some investigations first. Because this has been on my mind. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we've plenty of those back home in Japan. Oh, why is he talking about that? Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. That is what's called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency light. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship. It brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm's for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. This looks like a plan of the SS Gloria. It shows each deck. Look. Gloria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? What? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth. Many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That's a huge book on top of the table there. And there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such pretty handwriting. And nothing? No reaction at all? I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer? I lost the accent. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. You seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not the sailor. My mother gave me name. I am Senior Crewman Beef Stroganoff. Wait, Stroganoff? Beef Stroganoff? Like beef stroganoff? That's stupid. That's really stupid. Oof, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Hello, Biff. Biff Stroganoff. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Borea steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean. But Stroganoff is not there. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi currently occupied? Yeah. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for this. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in an extra cabin at least. Yes. It's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of students. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Nah, all the time. So criminals like you cannot come in. I want to get that. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about students. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? What? Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Sorry? I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Interesting. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. I must return to Captain. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. So let's look at the door. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. One the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cousin Summer wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whatever's in this cabin can help us solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help us with our inquiries. How annoying. Oh! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. Oh, I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. What can I kick? 9th of January, SS Brig. First class cabin number 2. Who are you? Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. Woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. In that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but will Mr. Grimsby Roylott here? Yes, that's me, and you are... I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. This man uses that magazine like a business card. Detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? Well, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in this small trunk like that? Well, if it's quite fashionable these days, isn't it? Traveling inside one trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Madahoda? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise, I'll call this through. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Oh my, this dumbass! I'm ignoring that. What do you think you're doing? Yeah. This is my cabin. Get out. Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. Great. But there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get someone with Mr. Roylott. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time. That you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And and it would seem the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian holding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russians would react when the secret you guard so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of dubious Russian? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh, I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you were about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Ah. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tensions, as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Now, Horo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Holmes's great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Holmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is draining from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. Oh. How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So, do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery? Let us board the train of reason. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roberts? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper. In particular, the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roberts. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolution. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you can fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of him myself, you understand. Conclusion: a revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime. Over there. Oh yes, Mr. White. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, you only speak so much more and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance follows. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yes. That's a travelling case. It is time, I think, when the case can be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside of me, I ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you, I think. Coup d'oeil? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know. I don't speak French. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your travelling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Elemensky. Okay. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Holmes' brilliant deductions. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes. I recall our deduction earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Schultz, Mr. Roylock does look more like this man. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to properly believe. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain liveliness in their body. Liveliness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Schultz. This whole thing is turning out into a circus. Mr. Nuttall, something's occurred to me about Mr. Schultz's deductions. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a bit off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sato. It's just one or two keywords in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Schultz's great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. Ah, thanks you, wonderful. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. Wrists? Oh, where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Schultz, you are a marvel. And don't worry. I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Holmes. Alright, revolutionary on the run. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylock. Obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pouch she is in. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an element? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using machines to cut away the codes we want. So, okay, so he's confused. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Boyle either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch the keyword here, son, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Boyle. I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Schultz's deduction, what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Madame. Why am I not going to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylock going to use those common shears? Enormous shears, not common shears. Enormous shears. Also, why is my mic falling over? Okay. Oh, that's not good. What is that? What is this? What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylot's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and surprising, and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush, golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one's still very much in your youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain, with clear evidence to shed light on it. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolution. No, you freaking dingbat. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Sorry. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Shanks. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Not strictly... He was gonna say not strictly come dancing. Wait. He was gonna say not strictly come dancing. Oh my god. I don't know much about pop culture, but I do know that in the UK and England and all of that over there, there is a television show that's their equivalent of Dancing with the Stars called Strictly Come Dancing. And I hope that's a reference. I hope that's a reference. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' seduction, shall we? The evidence that he picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roylott is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we understand them now. For some reason, this woman needs to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Article about the ballerina.
Yes!
Boom. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina, Miss Nicolina Pavlova. Did we get it? We did! hello! I hate how her hair has a hook on it. You're right. My real name is Nicolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. A ballerina on the run. Solved. So you couldn't have kidnapped a young ballerina. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies with a furtive glance forwards. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that's a traveling case. This woman is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. Oh, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I could see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased out of Omo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Oh!
Yes!
This. Waste paper basket. When people want to conceal the evidence of their crimes, where do they put it? If you want to hide a tree, put it in the forest. If you want to hide paper, put it in the waste paper basket. Yes, the proof of your crime is in here. Probably. Oh, no. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Well, sorry. I'll try again. Oh, so they do put other things in. Crimes can come in so many different forms, that's the thing. How can we be sure? Mr. Sholmes' observational skills are beyond question. Miss Pavlova definitely let her eyes stray to something, and that something will explain everything. We must look around very carefully and try to work out what she was thinking. Alright, I'll investigate the area some more. I agree that there must be something here that will prove what this woman is really guilty of. Oh. It's right there on the freaking table. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on! What, me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. How does this tiara look for me? I feel like I've seen it somewhere else.
Yes!
Tiara. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured in the newspapers. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Oh no, we got her. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone. I need money. But they did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old. She's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lucky. Right? I will tell you everything. There is no point to hide it. Come on, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Paddy? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have even laid eyes on it. Dear me, you're not well suited to a life of crime, are you? Your kennels could... their way... sure... betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your first glance to find the answer. Yes. The reason why you refuse to open your case is on the shelf. He's completely changed tack with his deduction. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into this? It's just a wild guess, sure. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open the case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. And there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same area, but that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she is hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Let's investigate this. Ah, it looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage. And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over, just like it cousins on this cabin? It's almost like someone's taken a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova, when she was practicing her ballet. Anyway, the point is, we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to. They're all in Russian. Well, that's a relief. Let's try our luck somewhere else. I think this is what These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Warrior. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if we break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, son. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Well, if her case was moving, it's probably because it's a
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item will move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Paddy. Inside your traveling case. is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage. Upheld. That's really cute. I kind of like this, the little deduction thing. Possession of a prohibited animal. So. She is really cute. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. No. Not Grimsby Royland. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape my movement. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. Boyd is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somehow recklessly took the guise of a gentleman. And you intended to sever all links within the past by severing your one hand. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave it. So, if it was just you, about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell. Tinkling of a bell. Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I had to, how do you say, disgust myself so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard, and just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fastly as possible, picked up the scissors in my hand, and at the precise moment we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your travel case? You were right. He's my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret's are safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, all right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something? Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? Certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes, what? Observe your wrists. Your hands! Cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? Fine. I'm out of my drinks. Where's my water? Water. There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Nanahodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Ah, can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. So can I investigate the case? Don't touch. Huh? I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things. How do you say forbidden? Oh, sorry. As well as you should be, young man. What vulgar manners you have. Poking around a young lady's private belongings. Neither shall I allow it. Yeah, hypocrite. Well, let's examine them. Oh, this is... So, this here... Oh. Because that's all taken. That's taken. This is taken. Okay, well... I guess I just have to talk to him. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The men who died. I just feel like something's moving. He was a friend of mine. No! That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people were talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there something you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novich Ballet? Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. I used to forget. A challenging proposition, with that striking tiara is mine. But that tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Mary, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Nanahodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Bora stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course! So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Now that I think about it, The crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens because I am an angel. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, the description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist the touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Shelley. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Friend. So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling base, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious. Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves and in unison throw you and your case overboard. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? Isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ha! You two are miserable burglars when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerinas as friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. She obviously doesn't quite trust us. There's something I should like to show her. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. What record? Speckled Band. That's what I would like to show her. Does this ring a bell to you, man? This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator. Speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin. You see? It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova, does something occur to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Like a whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Interesting. Excuse me, Mr. Royal. Yes, ma'am. Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, we will come then. What? You must leave. No. Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Miller. Get out! The passenger said out, or do you want me to throw you out? It looks like we'll have to investigate this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. And I think since it pretty much is 11 o'clock, this is a great time to kind of wrap it up for the evening. And we can continue this next week. Because I definitely want to keep playing, so we'll continue this later. But I wonder if the pet she has in her case is in fact a snake. Yeah, time flies. It was really fast. It went by real quick. But I want to believe that she has a pet snake in her bag. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. So... So what I think we're going to do is save this and keep playing it on Monday, because we can just do that and it'll be fine, I guess. It'll be something fun. And we could also do more God of War next week, too. We have Aylmere on Tuesday. If we have everything set up and time works in our favor, Tuesday may be the last session of Aylmere. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's that. Also, new information based on the sub off Twitch tag that's been going around on Twitter. I know people have been very generous and have subscribed to me, or yeah, subscribed to this channel and me here on Twitch, just kind of over time. But because of the stuff happening, I have provided in my little about section underneath my stream, just kind of like, you know, if you scroll down, there is a little section there listing other places where people can support me and support stuff that I make and streams and voice acting content and indie development content and just overall tomfoolery. So all of that stuff is kind of down in those links. There's like Buy Me a Coffee, there's Ko-Fi. I think my Patreon was just approved, so I can put Patreon down there. There's PayPal. So there's like a bunch of different ways that if you're so inclined to want to support in any way, whether it's a subscription base or if it's like a one-time coffee kind of thing, then those links are down there for anybody who would be interested, and I would really appreciate it. I don't have any other updates for things, so I'm going to let everybody get a head start on their weekend tonight. It is almost 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'm going to be the dad here. And I'm going to... Let's do something a little different. Let's do something different. Let's look up... Let's do a random inspirational quote generator. Let's do the Inspirobot, because I know Inspirobot's fun. So let's generate. And so, my dadly words of wisdom tonight. My dadly words of wisdom for everyone tonight to send you off into your weekend is be ashamed of your best friend. Which, don't actually be ashamed of your best friend. Inspirobot's just mean, so don't listen to that. Let's do one more. Fear for your life, here comes tears. It looks like it's going to be a wonderful weekend. Um, so enjoy yourself this weekend. I will see everybody next week on Monday with probably more Ace Attorney if we can finish out this the adventure of the Speckled Band and figure out, did Kazuma die actually? Is Kazuma dead? And how it happened, because I have no idea. And what's in the case? What's in the case? We'll look at that next week. So have a wonderful weekend. Love yourself, because I do. And peace out. I don't have my mouse working, so peace out.